Hi, and thank you for listening. This is Sherry Andrea. It's kind of early in the morning. Um, this is usually my time of the day where I get up, I sit on the back porch, I have coffee and my cigarette and everything, and I just relax. So I know I look kind of half done right now. My hair is all messed up, frazzled, and I look like I don't know what. I know. I know. But anyway, I'm here. Anyway, the reason why I wanted to do this video, my hair is a mess. I'm like looking at myself. See, that's why I don't like doing like video, like chats and stuff, is because I get all distracted. I'm like, oh, look at how my hair looks. Look at my face. Look at my expression. I start doing that, and I get distracted easily by myself. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about a couple of things. First of all, I want to talk about something. I get emails often, and okay, here's the thing. I sleep with my cell phone next to me. I very rarely do the notifications go off in the middle of the night. Usually my phone is pretty quiet. If I get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and, I notice I have some notifications, it's usually because somebody's maybe emailing me that's in a different time zone, like an opposite time zone or something. And then I'll read the message, and then I'll mark it as unread and just think, okay, I'll respond to it in the morning. Now, of course, there are some that I don't respond to, and I wanted to talk about that. Sometimes I can tell when I look at the message that it's been written, copied, and then pasted to various people. So I'm not the only one that got that message. I'm not the only one that got that email. That email was pasted and sent to many different people, like myself, other psychics, mediums, etc., energy workers. So sometimes I can tell. How can I tell? Because sometimes I will actually get that message 2 or 3 times as though they lost track of who they were sending it to, who they had already sent it to. Now you may say, maybe it's not that, maybe it's just, something else. And now keep in mind, before you say that, you're talking to somebody with psychic ability. So usually my higher self has already told me what's going on. When I question that I got 2 of them, my higher self has already told me the reason why and what's going on. So before you say, oh, it's probably not that, keep in mind that I'm always like using my abilities. So that information of what is really going on is always coming through to me. So yeah, if I say something, yeah, you need to kind of pay attention to what I'm saying and what I'm picking up on. So anyway, like I said, it's unusual for me to get, any notification in the middle of the night unless that's the case. Now, the reason why I say I'll respond in the morning, or I may not respond at all. The reason why is because sometimes, and I've been noticing a trend here, and this happens more often, has been happening more often in the last 2 to 3 years, as things get more expensive, as it gets harder for some people to make it, through the month financially. I'll get these long messages and explaining, I think this person is psychically attacking me, and this person's doing this and that to me, and I really need help. And they're, and it's really, the way it's written is like, this is a really dire situation. I'm hoping you can help me. But here's the thing. I think I'm a little bit old-fashioned still. I kind of believe that you shouldn't just make the assumption that somebody is going to help you for free. Because like I can't go into Walmart and just because I have no money and I'm hungry, I can't make that assumption that they're going to let me have the few things that I picked up just because I say to them, I'm hungry, I really need this, but I don't have any money. Now, if you've been paying attention in the news, oh, that's been happening plenty of times over the last couple of years. Plenty of people have been like going into McDonald's. They're like pre-ordering. Well, I don't even know how they can do that, but they've been going into McDonald's. There's this one article I read where this guy, he ordered all this food. It wasn't even just a single meal. It was like, I think it was like 2 meals. It was a specialty drink like frappe or something like that. So he goes into McDonald's and, tells them what he wants. But then when it's time to pay, he's like, oh, I'm really hungry. I'm really hungry and I don't have any money, but I'm hungry. I'm starving. And he literally wanted them to give him the food for free. And I guess I don't get that. I get the need. I can even get the desperation. But that's been happening more and more often where people are like, hey, look, I just don't have it. So I'll get you later. I've actually had many people say that to me too. They've, sent me requests for things and then said, hey, look, I'm not going to have money for 2 weeks. So, but I really want to do these attunements, or I really want to be able to work on this. So, I'll be able to give it to you in 2 weeks. But see, if you are dealing with a business that works that way, that's fine. But like I said, you can't go into Walmart and just go, I need this, but I don't have any money. You're not going to end up leaving that store with that product unless you get a cashier that feels for you and is like, you know what, I'll pay for it. And speaking of that, I've actually have had that happen to me, but it wasn't because I was expecting to get anything for free. It was because I went into, this happens sometimes. I went into the dollar store. And so I'm paying, but something's going on with my card. And for some reason, even though I literally logged in real quick, looked at it and verified, yeah, the money to pay for this is here, but for some reason the card is telling her that there's only a certain amount on it and it's just not letting it fully go through. And so of course I'm like that person that's just like, no problem, just put this back, put that back, I'll just get this and this, but the cashier, which I actually think was one of the managers, said, don't worry about it, I got it. And she paid for it for me. And I kind of felt bad because I was like, yeah, you didn't need to do that. I'm an adult. I'm a big girl. I can go without. I know how to be like, oh, okay, well, I don't have the money. So I'm not going to be able to get this and this right now. It's going to have to wait until later. I'm a big girl. I can deal with that. But sometimes people will make those nice gestures for you. But here's the thing. What if the person hasn't offered? So many of us, think about the person that's sending that message to multiple people like me. And what they're really doing is like, let me see who bites. Let me see who's going to respond. And guess what? This is the funny thing. Guess what? Guess who usually responds? Me. Usually I'm the only one that responds, and then when I respond and they get back to me, they actually tell me that, oh wow, thank you for responding, you're the only one out of everybody that I emailed, that I sent a message to, that responded. It's always me. I'm always the one that responds. I'm always the one that's like, got sympathy for people and is like, oh, I can relate, I went through that or whatever, and I'm the one that responds. I'm the one that has sympathy. Well, everybody else, They're sitting back. They don't respond. Why? Because everything they read in that email says this person is assuming they can get help from me for free. They don't have to pay. They haven't offered to pay. They haven't asked to get cut some slack. That's the thing. Some people don't even ask. They don't even say, hey, I know you charge for your services, but if you could help me out this one time, I'll make sure that the next time I'm able to pay for certain. No, they don't say that either. They don't even go that far. They basically just, I need help. I hope you help me. And sometimes they go as far as, if you don't respond, repeatedly emailing you and saying, hey, I need you to respond. I need you to respond. But the thing is, what we're talking about a lot of time is energy work, is metaphysics, spirituality. Some of you are into the love and light thing. I'm not going to call it crap, but the love and light thing. And just believe that if you have it to give, then you should give it freely without charging. However, for some of us, this is not only our path and purpose, but it's the business that we've chosen. Just like you got to choose your job, your career. Some of us have chosen this as our jobs and our career. You don't get to, if I'm working at McDonald's, you don't get to come to McDonald's and say, oh, I know that you chose to work here, but I think, if you're trying to live life telling people you're a nice person, you should give me those French fries for free. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And look, the thing is that even though I have great sympathy for people, and I can remember when I went through really hard times and I had to get people to help me when I had attachments from working with a group where we would go out of body and we would help people. We'd clear people's houses of things that go bump in the night. And sometimes those type of out of body, Marvel type superhero fights, the metaphysical, they should have something called, Marvel metaphysics, because where people are, they're like fighting the bad guy, but it's like metaphysical, it's spiritual. It's like you're literally fighting things that go bump in the night. You're fighting the things that most people don't even believe exist, but that many people are affected by and that are hurting them. Well, in the process of doing that, sometimes you end up with things happening to yourself, like ending up getting an attachment that you can't get rid of. And I've had that happen and gotten to the point where, it gets scary when you realize you've got something going on that you can't get rid of. It does become like that moment that's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And so I've been fortunate to have people in my life in the past that could help me, that did help me. So I do relate and I do get it. But the thing is, back when I was learning, I didn't really have hardly any money. Literally the only money that we had coming in at one point ages ago was my son's child support, and a little bit of money that I would make here and there from doing consulting work. But literally we had hardly no money. And a lot of times, I would hear people talk about classes they were taking, even mediumship circles they were going to. But look, I couldn't even do that. I couldn't even go to mediumship circles. And I know you're thinking, well, wait, why? Usually they're not hardly charging anything, like maybe $5 to sit in or $7. Look, I didn't even have that. But you know what I did? I didn't expect anyone to give it to me for free. I didn't expect anyone to let me sit in on that for free. Back then, I couldn't buy a book, didn't have the money to take a course, didn't have the money for a mediumship circle. I acted like an adult. And I said, well, I won't be able to do that. I'll have to keep going it on my own and learning on my own, practicing on my own. And that's what I did. Why? Because I didn't have the money. And I didn't make an assumption that somebody owed me, you know, that freebie. I never made that assumption. I was always grateful if, you know, maybe I was buying a book from somebody on eBay and they happened to ask me. Or I remember one time I was buying Sage, and the lady that I was buying it from on eBay, like, asked me, like, you know, my reason for needing it. And, you know, went into this whole big, long, drawn out thing. And she actually recommended a book to me. And I bought it right away. There's just something that told me, buy that book. You know, this, sometimes when people give you advice, it's coming from a higher place. They're being guided to give you that advice. And I did, and it changed my life. I wouldn't be here today, probably, if it hadn't been for her just advising me to read a certain book. And I've mentioned that book several times in many of my videos. The book by Lynn Grabhorn, Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting. So even though people have helped me out, I never like really expected it. Often even now, I mean, you wouldn't believe, I mean, and this is why I'm always telling people, you know, work on yourself. Work on yourself. Do that work every day, you know, do your decrees or your mantras. Spend a good deal of time working on that. You know, work on your visualizations. You know, work on changing your way of thinking. Turn that around to be more like not only glass half full, but changing it to be, I have an expectation of all good things happening versus expecting the worst. That's why I'm always saying, do your work. Do the work every day. Because then as you raise your vibrations, sitting at a higher vibratory level is that difference between living hell on earth or living heaven on earth. So now a lot of times when I go out and I go into stores and things, you wouldn't believe sometimes the things people just give me. Like, I can go into a store and see like a display sitting near the register and go, oh, that's really cute. But not wanting to buy it or anything, but going, just noting it, pointing it out like, oh, that's really cute. Here, you can have it. That happens to me all the time now. I went somewhere the other day and I started to walk out the door and the guy says to me, oh, hold on, I have something for you. And he handed me a foot-long Subway sandwich. Because I tried to give him a coupon the other day, and this is how it usually happens. I had these coupons, and you know how it works. You get a whole sheet of coupons, but you know they expire before you get a chance to use them all. And so I thought, you know what? Let me give some of them to some people, instead of them just expiring, you know, and not being any good and nobody getting to use them. And so I tried to give him a coupon that was like that. I think it was a coupon for a foot-long meal with chips and soda for only $5.99. And then he told me, he goes, I got this code that you can use. And it's 2 codes. They alternated every month, but you can always use it and buy a foot long, get a free one. So he had used the code to do it. So that's how he ended up with the extra sandwich, and he gave it to me. And a lot of times I go places and, you know, people are giving me things, or if my card doesn't work for some reason, they're like, you know what? Don't worry about it. Just go ahead. Or they'll be like, you know what? You can pay me later. They're like, I get that all the time. But look, living a life like that and having things like that always happen to you, that's more a matter of the vibratory level you're sitting at. But not to get off track, like I was saying, I'm a little old school. I don't, you know, I was raised that you don't take something that doesn't belong to you, and that you pay for what you want. You go into a store, you better be ready to pay for the things you want. No, this is no, somebody should let me steal it because I don't have the money and I need it. No. And I'm not trying to be hard on anyone, because I understand a lot of times people's need, but here I am. A lot of the other people that do what I do, they're making really good money. They got TV shows, and here I am sitting, just hoping that I could put gas in the car tomorrow. But I'm the one that gets the emails asking for me to give my services free. Yes, I am the one who is probably most skilled out of everyone. There aren't too many people. I mean, I've met a couple that have really great energy work skills, but there's probably no one that has those skills that's sitting at as high of a spiritual level as I am. And so some people think that I should be willing to give of myself for free. Like, you can't have something like that. God can't allow you to have something like that without you, paying it forward and giving it to people for free. But see, here's the thing. God never told me that I had to just let people take from me just because they deemed that it should be that way. God never told me I had to give of myself for free. Just like God never told you had to let people walk all over you, or you had to let people be mean to you. Who told you that? God never told you that. That's not a deal. That's not in the paperwork. You know what I mean? When we spiritually advance and we're really working for God, that's not in the contract. That's not in the paperwork. God never told you that you had to let people treat you the way they deemed correct or fair. No. So now I've started, when I get those emails, I don't respond. Sometimes people get, a little snippy with me, and they'll keep emailing me. You haven't responded yet. You haven't responded yet. You haven't responded yet. And getting kind of angry with me. But here's the thing. What am I supposed to do? Can I go to Walmart? Hey, you haven't given me anything free yet. You haven't let me get my groceries free yet. Hey, can I do that? Nope, can't. No, I can't. And here's the thing. When I was learning and I was growing and I was practicing, I didn't get to where I am now because people looked out for me and gave me things for free. I actually had to do without. I didn't get to take courses. I didn't get to have somebody that I could email that could answer all my questions. How do you think I learned trust and faith? That's how I learned trust and faith, because I had no choice. I had no choice because I didn't have it like that, where I had the money where I could be like, oh, okay, I'm going to order a service from this person so they can, answer some questions for me, help me with this or that. I didn't even have the money for that. I had to go it alone. And guess what? I survived. Not only that, that's what helped me to learn about trust and faith. But I mean, it's just so funny that, I get so many emails of people just because of because you're here, because you've reached a certain level. Okay, now you should be able to help me with those skills you've got without expecting anything. Oh, you mean to tell me, I didn't get a donation ever when I get those emails. I don't even get a donation. I don't even get that. I don't have much money, but I sent you the $5 I got. No, I don't get that. I get nothing. That's the thing. I've never done that. I've always made an effort to show the person that I'm sincere. So even if, say I only had $5, I would be like, oh, okay, I sent you $5. I know it's not a lot, but that was all I had right now. So here's $5. Now, excuse me. Of course, they can send it back to me and say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Or maybe they'll help me. Maybe they'll be like, yeah, okay. At least, you know what I mean? Maybe they'll respect the fact that at least I went ahead and I went ahead and I sent them something. I went ahead and I tried to show that I was, sincere and that I wasn't taking advantage of them or anything. So, but I don't even get that. Speaking of that, I have a special right now, which is a make a donation of $1 or more and get three attunements, right? Now I had that special going on once before. It worked fairly well. Um, Majority of people gave $1, but I had quite a few people that um, saw the value in what they were getting. And the dollar people, if they don't see the value in what they're getting, that's something that more affects them than me. But many people did see the value in it. Well, I have that special going on now, and since I started it again, this is what's interesting. I've gotten 2 requests so far. Neither one of them sent a donation. That's what's funny. One of them even posted on my Facebook that they were like, "Oh, this is great. I love this. I love it when you do this." So they sent the request, they didn't send the donation. And then the next person, again, sent the request, didn't send the donation. So now I don't even respond anymore because I'm just like, I'm going to end up spending all my time responding and going, "Hey, by the way, unless you make the donation of at least $1, you're not going to get the attunements." I'm to that point where I'm not even responding anymore. I guess maybe I'm seeing it as the way things are going in the times that we live in. And it's not that the people are doing it on purpose. People are very unfocused right now. And hey, I'm guilty of that too. It's gotten harder and harder for me to focus like I used to. There's so much going on right now. There's just so much going on. From us trying to pay attention to what's going on with gas prices, food prices. On top of that, now, food is costing double. And then you're thinking, okay, and then I still got to afford to not only pay for gas, but I also have to still pay those same bills that I pay. I still got to pay the internet. I still got to pay the phone. And, so it is very easy right now to not be focused and to lose your focus. And so I understand that. But you would think that when they didn't get the attunement after a couple of days, that they would be like, "Hey, I never got those attunements. I wonder why." I go back to the site and read it again and be like, "Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't at least send the $1." No. But it's okay. I'm just not gonna respond to you to remind you because the last time I did this special, I swear I spent so much time emailing people that really it really ended up not really being worth it to try to do it because I spent all my time emailing people, emailing back and forth, because not only would people send the request and not send the donation, when they didn't get the attunement, they would resend the request, still not send the donation, but now this time the second request doesn't have the same attunements on it. Then they finally send $1. Now I got to figure out, well, which request am I supposed to honor? Your first one or your second one that had different attunements on it? So this is my world. So I'm going through all of that, and of course thinking, here I am trying to do something good that is helpful, because thinking, hey, this might help people out during a time when financially things are hard for everybody. And even me trying to do that, it's just like, oh man, can't y'all work with me here? Come on, meet me halfway. We don't have to, this isn't brain surgery. This don't have to be this difficult. So I just want to remind you, if you make the request, don't forget to send the donation. And actually, if you, on the site, on my website, sherryspeaks.com, if you read the instructions, it actually directs you to go and make the donation first and then come back and make the request. So that's the other thing. People are just ignoring what I'm telling them to do. Oh, you want my help, but you at the same time want to ignore what I tell you to do. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's such a contradiction. Oh, I want your help, but don't tell me what to do. I get it. I get it. It's like my neighbor coming and going, going on and on about something that's going on in her life, and me listening. And the minute I speak up to say something or to make a comment about something she's got going on, her getting an attitude with me and being like, hey, I just was hoping that you would listen. I don't need all that. And then, here I am standing there thinking, but wait a minute, you're taking up my time. And so you're basically telling me just shut up and listen. That's why I stay in my house now. And I'm just like, doorbell rings, I usually don't answer it. No, whatever problem you have, take it back to your house. Because if you're not going to appreciate me, my time, my help, then you might as well just go back home. Because I'd be more than willing to listen. I'd be more than willing to help. But I'm not going to go for that. You just listen and shut up and keep your opinion or your advice or whatever your higher self has to say to yourself. No. You either get all of this or you get none of it. Sorry. I just thought that was funny. Anyway, so I'm going to ramble like this more often and do videos more often where I just ramble and discuss things. Please feel free to comment like what you think. Even if it's an opposing view, please feel free to comment and give it. I don't mind. But keep it nice. You don't have to be mean or nasty, and don't be mean or nasty to any of the other people commenting. There's no reason for that. You can say what you think, even if it's opposing view, without going there, so just, keep it decent. Dignity and grace, dignity and grace. Anyway, if you're looking for me, you can find me at sherryspeaks.com. Remember, I have the donation special going on. And of course there's 80 plus attunements there. There's also the certificate creator, where if you don't have a certificate for something and you'd like to get it, no matter who the master's name is, you can create that certificate, and it's $1.75, and it comes in, it was coming in, hold on, it comes in PDF form. Now, when you do the attunements on my website, they also now come with the beautiful certificates, but those come in graphic form, I think JPEG. It's not that big of a difference. My certificate creator creates a PDF. The system that I'm using to do the attunements on my website, they create PDFs, so you automatically will get a PDF with the attunement course you order. It comes in graphic form, which is no big deal. Either one you can convert to something else. If you just Google convert this to this, either one of them you can convert to something else. So anyway, check that out. Hope you have a beautiful day. Namaste.